Boom. Guys, first of all, if you could do me a favor, do me the honor of going ahead and sharing this live with people that you think would be interested in this conversation. I'd be very grateful if you could do that for me. And please note that I am on time today. In fact, if anything, I'm about a minute early, which is rare considering the fact that I work here at Simoson, where nothing works, where everything is just chaos, bedlam, and utter pandemonium. Okay, so a minute early is a good thing. We're on the right track, guys. What I need to hear you say, hey, Bo, thank you. Thank you, Bo, for being the first one on here. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for your unwavering support. Although I must tell you, I think the tie and the shirt are a bit too matchy-matchy. You know, I need a bit of a contrast in my wardrobe, okay? And I think the tie is a bit too much. It's matching too much with the reflector. Tell me what you think, because you're going to do that anyway. You're going to rake me over the coals anyway. You know, I realized last night I was having dinner and I began to chew. And I've noticed over the last couple of days that each time I chew, the bottom part of my jaw aches. There's a bit of a pain there when I chew. And, you know, at first I was thinking, well, maybe I opened my mouth a bit too wide or did something. And then I realized it's because some joker, the day that I was attacked, I remember some guy from behind punched me right. He did it from behind, but he punched my jaw. And I remember that's what it was. I mean, I was receiving a flurry of punches and stones and stuff. It was a miracle that most of those stones didn't land on me, you know, because and honestly, I'm beginning to feel that some of them deliberately missed me because it didn't make any sense. They were so close, and yet the stones were just flying past me and hitting the wall. And I'm led to believe, looking back now in retrospect, some of them, not all of them, some of them deliberately missed me. I think they were just trying to, you know, sort of put the fear of God in me or something. A few landed, you know, but the critical ones didn't. It still doesn't negate the fact that they committed a crime. And let me also give you an update on this. There are 3 people that have been identified from that ruckus, but the police have not apprehended them. We don't know why. The police they know exactly where they are. They know who they are, but they're not apprehending them. Why? That's my question. You know, if I were to even just push a citizen and they crumble to the ground, oh my goodness, the police would be breaking down my door. Mwewa, you've been accused of assault. Let's go. Uzakamba musha kusokola chosa belti yo. Nsapato chosa. Ngena muselu yo mwewa. But because I was attacked, nobody cares. You know, we've identified the guys. We've identified them. But the police are shuffling their feet. The police are dragging their feet. Why? Central, answer that question. Police spokesperson, answer that question. You have been told who the assailants were, at least 3 of them. You know exactly where they live. They've been identified. And guys, let me tell you, anytime you put up money, honey, people, they sing like a canary. They do, because nobody cares. You know, we know who these people are. We've identified who they are, but the police they're not doing their job. And that concerns me. It does. Because if you don't nip it in the bud now, you know, it's going to get worse down the road. You know what they say in English? A stitch in time saves 9. In other words, if you get the first stitch, you don't have to deal with the others. Anyway, I thought I'd give you an update and share that with you, and it's frustrating the hell out of me. And the only reason I thought of it was because there's this persistent pain in my lower jaw, right about here, that simply will not go away. You know, and I'm not going to take painkillers for the rest of my life. I'm not doing it. You know, do you have any idea how the sort of adverse effect that has on a human body? You know, so every single time I open my mouth wide, there's this pain right about there. Annoys me. It does. Guys, thank you for being with me. Please share this live if you can. And just a side note, have you heard about the feud between Elon Musk and Donald Trump? We saw it coming. We did. The bromance is finally over. There's nothing worse than two giants in a room that can't stand each other, that pretend to love and support each other. I mean, I saw it coming. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are at it, and they're trying to outdo one another. The only people that are going to be affected by this fromance is the grass. Two gigantic elephants that are going at it. Everything underneath here is going to be a variety of damage. well, you know, that's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. All righty. You know, as I was preparing to address you today, because I read the comments, I read everything you say, and I noticed that a lot of you love to use this line on me. You love to say, "No mwewa timing. Don't talk. Don't say anything." And you know, for a while it used to worry me. I'd say, "Well, why are they saying that?" You know, and then I finally cracked the comment algorithm here in Zambia on Facebook. And here it is. I'm going to share this with you. When people say to me in particular, mwewa, SML TV, lots of you jump on here. "No, mwewa, don't talk. Silence is golden. I cannot stand that Bemba saying. What the hell does that even mean? Okay? So when I hear people say that, I mean, it happened, it's been happening throughout my Facebook presence. You know, when I first talked about Dandy's issue with abuse of alcohol, you misunderstood that. And, you know, you raked me over the coals. So anytime I want to make a statement or say something, many of you are very quick to attempt to silence me under the banner of, "No, it's the wrong timing." And my usual retort, my usual response to that is, well, when is the right timing? Because the Word of God says, today is the day of salvation. Then it dawned on me. It was like the curtains were pulled back and the sunlight burst in, and I realized what it was, and I'm going to share it with you. And it's this. Discuss it all the time. This issue of Lungu's funeral and Lungu's demise, may his soul rest in peace, is being discussed on every... Sorry. Sometimes that happens. Please tell me in the comments if we're back. Connection just dropped. There's nothing worse than an unreliable connection. Nothing. Okay, let me just double check this. Let me suss it out to make sure we're connected well. Please tell me in the comments if we're... Tell me in the comments if we're good. Are we good? Are we good? Network, no bueno bueno. You're back. Am I back? I'll fix all of this. Okay, we're back. Wonderful. I'll fix all of this in post. So what I was saying was that a lot of times when I read your comments and you say, don't talk about it, don't say this is the wrong timing, blah, 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 blah. I finally cracked the comment algorithm here on Zambian Facebook, and it's this. It's not that you don't want the issue to be discussed. It's that you don't want me in particular to discuss it. I want that to sink in for a moment. I want that to marinate in your cerebellum. I want that to fester in your soul. I want that to sizzle in your spirit. Let me say it again. Many of you you constantly say this to me. Some of you, in fact, some youth group from the PF sent me a message on Messenger, literally saying to me, Mr. Mwewa, please, don't talk about this. Just let it lie for a few days. And then I realized it's not that you don't want the issue to be discussed. It's that you don't want me to discuss it. That's the issue. And let me tell you, this is my response to anyone that says that to me. In the famous words uttered by Mutale Mwanza, when she said, a bikini is to be worn. In the same way, current affairs are to be commented on currently. Does that make any sense to you? Please say that in the comments. Just type that in the comments. Current affairs are to be commented on currently. So whether it's, because I'm telling you now, it doesn't matter where you go. Daily Nation is talking about this. Zambia Daily Mail is talking about this. Every single platform on social media is discussing this. Social media is awash with this comment. Why? Because it is the #1 trending topic. So why is it that everybody here can talk about it except me? I discovered it's not that you don't want to talk about it. It's that you don't want me to talk about it. So this is my response. For those of you that don't want me to talk about current affairs, here's my response. Honey, you can jump through this and shut the hell up. There, I said it. All righty, let's get into it. Several things I want to talk to you about. First of all, Rafael Hajaka Nakachinda is in South Africa, and he's been talking to the South African press, peddling a lie. Everything that he says, Nakachinda, has got a slant of manipulation in it. And the South African reporter was talking to him. In response, Nakachinda said a lot of things that were inaccurate. One of the things that was most notable was when Nakachinda said, straight up, he said that had President Lungu gone to South Africa 2 years prior to his demise, he would be alive today. That's what he said to the South African press. That's what he said. The South African reporter said, but President Lungu has been going to South Africa for checkups since 2015. In response to that, Nakachinda tried to fumble his way through because he realized he had been caught in an accurate position. He'd created a falsehood. For Nakachinda to not only to imply, to say, he didn't imply it, he said it. I'm quoting verbatim, word for word. Nakachinda said, had Lungu gone to South Africa 2 years prior to his demise, Lungu would still be alive today. A total lie. Lungu's been going to South Africa since 2015 regarding his health. Notwithstanding, Nakachinda was the one championing, trying to peddle this facade that all was well in paradise, and yet it was unraveling and falling apart at the seams in real time. Knowing full well, Nakachinda, Given Lubinda, Emmanuel Mwamba, all of them, every single solitary member of the PF top brass were fully aware of Lungu's condition, and yet they chose to conceal it, not only conceal it, but peddle this idea that he was fine, he's coming back to throw his weight in the ring, but where they were going to defeat President Hakainde Hichilema using by Edgar Lungu, and Edgar Lungu was up for the task of doing this amazing thing, and yet they knew he was unwell. Now, I want to take you back a little bit before we talk about this. You remember when Lungu lost the elections. Now, keep in mind, he had served twice. He had been sworn in twice. He served a total number of 7 years in government as president. But his time passed because the Zambian people decided to go into a different direction. The Zambian people charted a different course, a different trajectory for this nation by ushering in Hakainde Hichilema. When that happened, Lungu retired. He notified cabinet. He said, look, I'm done. This is all, I've come to the end of my race. I have run my race. I fought a good fight. I did everything that I could for the Zambian people to the very best of my ability. It is now time to pass the baton. Say it in the comments. Say, it is now time to pass the baton. To pass the reins of leadership to somebody else. Because that's what democracy is. It doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how great you are. There's that little thing called tenure that you have to contend with. Every single president faces it. There comes a time when you have to step off the stage. There comes a time when the lights turn off and the nation bids farewell. That time comes for every leader. It does. And so when Lungu left the stage, there were calls for him to return. You remember, this was during COVID. He was wearing a mask, and he very famously said, the people advising me to return to politics are not telling me to do the right thing. Let me make it clear and unequivocal. I have no interest, no desire to return to active politics. I've run my race. I've fought a good fight. It's time for other people to take up the mantle, to take up the baton, and to lead this nation to greater heights. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say that word for word, but you get my point. When he did that, immediately the presidential benefits began to kick in. Now, for those of you that I've said this before, I'll say it again. Some of you don't realize how fantastic it is to be a former head of state. Once you've saved, my goodness, fuel paid for by the government, medicals paid for by the government, housing paid for by the government, office personnel paid for by the government. Once a year, every year for the rest of your life, you can go to any place in the world on a holiday. The government will pay for it. You are living a life of ease. Not only a life of ease, but you are living a life of ease in the dusk of your life. as you are now going, because the days ahead of you are fewer than the days behind you. So the only thing you have left to do is just to enjoy. Mwaima, mwako ku Florida, mwako akasomo ku Chinsani, mwako ku Twapia, Kundola, mwako ku Maldives, Seychelles, Bogota, Pretoria, Cape Town, South Africa, all paid for by the government. But lo and behold, Raphael hijaka nakachinda. Boy, I tell you, he's the spawn of the devil. Tell you what, that guy is birthed out of the cesspool of hell. I'm telling you right now. He is the personification of Gehenna, if you know what Gehenna is. Okay? He's the son of Lucifer. Raphael Nakachinda began to whisper in the ear of ECL. Tapariombi. Ni mwewa. There's no one else. It's just you. Lay down that desire to retire. Come back. Let's fight these infidels in the form of UPND. Let's fight them and vanquish them and destroy them, put a noose around their necks and throw them in the middle of the sea and ask God to forget them. Lungu was pressured. Finally, the former and sixth president of the Republic of Zambia succumbed. Because you must understand, Bane, presidents bantu fear. I'm a president. Presidents are just people. They listen to advice. As we say in Zambia, advice. They are compelled. Sometimes it takes a leader with an ironclad mentality to withstand misguided advice. Oh, it takes fortitude. Oh, it takes an iron back to stand in the face of multiplicity of multitudinous ministers and friends and colleagues screaming in your face, wait it up, oh, wait it up, oh. It takes an iron-fisted man to say, no, I'm done. Unfortunately for Lungu, he succumbed. Now, in succumbing, the inevitable happened. The law is very clear. If you return to active politics, the benefits as you know them as a former head of state, they fall away. That is the law. It's not something Hagainde Hichilema hatched in the basement of the UPND headquarters. No. It's not something that HH sat down at a round table with his colleagues and said, you know, I think I'm a benefit Yaba Lungu to Yapoke. No, it's the law. That's how it works. Now, in technology, there's something called if this, then that. In other words, if A happens, B will also happen. If you return to active politics, the benefits you once enjoyed fall away. Simple. But Lungu knew that. And I remember Lungu saying, these are just meager, I mean, these are paltry, meager benefits. I don't even need them. Well, it turns out he did need them. Because he was unwell. Now, when it was clear to the conclave of the PF, because the PF knew it, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I said it in my previous video, I'm 56 years old. I've lived a long time. I've met every single president we've ever had on a very personal level. I've known all of them. I've met all of them. The one thing, the one immutable truth that stands supreme when it comes to the ailment of a head of state, it doesn't matter how much you try to conceal it. Eventually, it comes out. You tried to conceal Basata's illness. It came out. You tried to conceal Mwewa's illness. It came out. One minister, I think it was President Lungu, I could be wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong. President Lungu famously said, no, Mwewa is in London jogging, on the streets of London jogging. And yet, the reality was the opposite. The reality was President Mwewa was fighting and battling for his life. Zambians, we have to change this. We have to change this. Zambians, there's nothing wrong with knowing the health status of our leaders. They belong to us, the people. They don't belong to their families. They belong to us. Therefore, that information, we should be privy to any information that affects their health. But Nakachinda, given Ubindan company, namely Manyo Mwamba and the PF cohorts, they concealed the fact that our president was not only unwell, but gravely unwell. And yet they continued to use his Facebook page to disseminate falsehoods. Let me tell you, and I know this because I know life. I've lived more than 50 years, so I know. When you are ill, when you are sick, when you are unwell, nothing else matters. Nothing matters. The only thing that is first and foremost on your mind, on your heart, in your spirit, I want to get well. I want to get well. I want to be able to go home, to be with my family, to sit with my children, to laugh with my grandkids. I want to be able to stand up and take a walk down the road. I want to be able to pick up a phone and call a colleague and say, hey, you want to do lunch? Let's do coffee. When you are sick, nobody cares about politics. Nobody cares about Alebwe Rapo. Nobody cares about the number of voters in Shangombo. Nobody cares about that. The only thing that is first and foremost on your mind when you are unwell, especially when you have cancer, is to get well. Raphael Nakachinda, Given Lubinda, Emmanuel Mwamba, the PF conclave were using Edgar Lungu even when they knew that the man was standing on death's door, and you were still using him to peddle your political agenda. And you want us to keep quiet? If what I'm saying is upsetting you, get the hell off of my page. You vagabonds, you despots, you bottom feeders, you moochers. Even when you knew he was standing on death's door, you used him. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Every last one of you. And now, here it is. He's gone. But you're still here. And you're still peddling lies, Raphael. You're still peddling lies, Given. You're still peddling lies, Emmanuel. For what? To create political angst? To create political discombobulation? To create political tension? Is that your goal? Yeah? Well, guess what? You're not going to get away with it. Because we're not going to let you. We see right through you. jokers. Bunch of jokers. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give you a blow-by-blow account of what's going to happen. This is not a prophecy. This is common sense. Because that's a thing with you Zambians. Some of you are so dull, so dwanzi. Everything is quoted in spirituality. There's nothing spiritual about what I'm going to say to you. It's just simple common sense. Here's what's going to happen, and this is how it's going to go down. The former and sixth president is going to be laid to rest. And then all of hell is going to break loose in the PF. You know why? Because every last one of those jokers are going to start jostling for power. Namely, KBF has already started disseminating information, Kuti, I'm the chosen one. Oh, really? Even in his death, you're going to use his name? Even in his death, you're going to imply that he chose you? Huh. What's going to happen in the PF is going to make the movie 300 look like a picnic on a Sunday afternoon. They're going to be jumping out of windows. It's going to be utter bedlam. Oh, you wait and see. You wait and see. And when it happens, you'll say that I told you so. Now, perchance, because, disclaimer. If that doesn't happen, I'll be surprised that if it doesn't happen. But I'm willing to bet that that's exactly what's going to happen. You wait for ECL to be buried. There's going to be a seismic shift within the PF, the likes of which you have never seen. The gathering storm that's hovering over that political party is going to be so gargantuan, it's going to be so colossal, that CNN's going to make a footnote out of this story. Okay, maybe not CNN, but you get the point. All right. All right, that's all I wanted to say. Lastly, my plea to President Lungu and the family: don't let Hijacker Nakachinda take the lead. He'll mislead you. He will mislead your family. He will mislead you. My encouragement to you: hold hands with the state. Help. The state wants to help you, I would imagine. I'm not speaking on behalf of the state. I'm just speaking as a private citizen. This is my perception, and this is my take on it. Already, the state has sent emissaries to South Africa to help facilitate the repatriation of ECL's remains. Don't push against that. Embrace it. Nakachinda is going to confuse you if you allow Nakachinda to be speaking on behalf of the family. Already, Nakachinda is talking. He's quoting by Edgar Lungu posthumously. Do you know that? Nakachinda is already quoting Lungu posthumously, meaning he's saying things after Lungu's death, quoting Lungu, saying, no, Lungu said this, Lungu said. We don't know that. We don't know that. We weren't there. We didn't know. We didn't hear the former president say what you're saying, Raphael. Just because you say he said it doesn't mean he said it. You used to use his Facebook page. When he was sick, standing on death's door, you were using his Facebook page to disseminate falsities. You're evil. That's what you are. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.